Welcome back to Coffee and Praise. Thank you for joining me. This will be the second part of the highlights from chapter 22 in Growing Slow. In the last video, I mentioned a quote that I need to find still that kind of reminded me of the things that I need to be doing now that I'm in the place that I'm in. Now, this also goes sort of with that. It's on page 218, and it says, "And then in the most unspectacular place, a regular old farm, I found a subtleness I didn't even know was possible. It came in a whisper on a dirt road, in the turning of earth, during the harvest that came despite all odds. It came in the way the sun kept rising and kept setting and then rising again, the ancient way. I found a way to live without panic, and I'm enjoying a new and steady peace right where I am. Not on the freeway of life, but at the end of a dusty country lane where my hands get dirty. I slowed down, and behold, I discovered that I hadn't disappointed God after all." The first time I read that, prior to reading it it's been maybe a couple videos that I posted back, this just, it choked me up, because all this time I thought I was a disappointment because I couldn't work anymore. I had to make that choice. And I know that when people on the outside looking in don't understand that, because you can't experience what I experience. You don't know what I'm feeling. You don't know it unless you go through it. And even then it's different, because we can kind of understand if, we both struggle with anxiety, or we both struggle with diabetes. Like, we probably deal with some of the similar things, but just the way we are, our personalities, our bodies, we react to things differently. So all this time I thought, well, if people are disappointed in me, even if they don't say it, but they sure act like it, excuse me, then surely God must be disappointed in me, because this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to be working all my life. I'm supposed to have a career. I'm supposed to have finished college. I was supposed to do all these things that I had on my to-do list. And, well, here I am. Excuse me. And I'm, 46 years old. And I feel I have nothing to show for that, because I can't show you a piece of paper that says I received this degree, or this career that you can see that I accomplished all these goals and made all this money and have a nice car, nice house, or whatever. I don't have those things. And yes, I did work. Yes, I did have things, but I never had that, I never got to that point. And I beat myself up about that a lot. And that's part of why I think, or I know, that I allowed myself to get to the point of gaining so much weight, because I didn't care anymore. If I was, a disappointment to people and nobody really cared, or if, sorry, my cat was passing over and I have all kinds of stuff next to me, then why should I try? It's that same, I don't care. I'm just going to give up. I'm not going to do anything. And so I still did things, but see, what I did was things for other people. So whether that was just being there for them, being there with them when they needed me, listening to them, and those things. The only thing, excuse me, that I consistently, I think, throughout my life did for myself was stay in a relationship with God. Read the word, pray, find people who I could have that iron sharpens iron kind of relationship with, that I knew if I was messing up, they would tell me. And they would do it in a way that was loving, and in a way because they didn't want to see me fall into any kind of bad, evil, darkness, whatever it was. But I didn't take time to listen to my body, to listen to myself, to see what I was doing to myself. And I just found, I don't know if I would call it emotional eating, but maybe it was, because it was helping to deal with those disappointments that I was disappointed in myself. And I was like, well, I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to, eat whatever I want, which it was just bad food. It wasn't like I didn't overeat a lot. It was just that I ate everything I shouldn't have eaten. And then, of course, if you go to the restaurants around my hometown, a lot of them have these big plates of enchiladas and tacos. And of course, you want it. It's good. It tastes great. And instead of portioning it out correctly or doing the once in a while, this is a treat, it was more of, I don't care. And of course, at that time, I didn't know that I had diabetes. I didn't know that I had polycystic ovarian syndrome. Not really. I suspected it because of some research I had done, but I wasn't diagnosed with it until later. I didn't know I had hypothyroidism. The only thing I did know that I had high blood pressure. I don't know. I know one time they said my cholesterol was high. I don't know when that was. I don't know if it was back then or this was later as well. And I knew I dealt with depression and anxiety. Well, I didn't know what they were. I knew there was just times that I was just sad for no reason. Everything just seemed worthless. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't care. And I just kind of have this time I would just fall into it. And then maybe a week later I was okay. Or, coming out of it. Sometimes it was months that I just felt like that. I would just pretend. I got really good at pretending because not knowing what I had to find ways to deal with it because I didn't want anybody to know. I didn't even know what it was. I didn't know how to explain it. I didn't know. I didn't want people to think I was crazy. That's because that's just seems, it's who wants that label, right? And I was already dealing with being fat, so crazy and fat, there was just too much, and I couldn't find a way to deal with it. So I would either go and eat bad food for a long time, and then I'd do really, really good, and then I'd do it again, and then all of a sudden I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna walk every day. Like when I was in college, when we first got married, I was in water aerobics and walk jog every day. I think 3 times a week. And then I would do, on the other 2 days, I would do, I think I was in weight training or I can't remember what the class was called. And then I would do that every semester, but still I wouldn't lose any weight. I would change how I was eating. I was eating better. I was eating less. I was eating nothing. I wouldn't lose any weight. I wouldn't gain much, but I wouldn't lose anything. And there was a lot of reasons for that, I guess. I've heard, with some of the doctor's appointments I've had more recently, stress can do that, especially with the illnesses that I had that I didn't know. But even not knowing, I chose to eat things I knew that were bad for me anyway. They're not good to have soda every day. They're not good to have chips every day, like Doritos and all these things, and have, fast food burgers and fries and, all these things. And I did it anyway because I could. And it was almost like that was the thing I couldn't control. I couldn't seem to find a way to control my body. It didn't want to do what I said. No matter if I exercised, if I ate right, nothing changed. Nothing would change. And so I just said, well, then I'll just do what I want and I'll eat what I want. And I did it in a way that wasn't healthy though. So now I see it okay, I'm not on a diet. I'm on a lifestyle change. So if I want to be healthy, I need to add in healthy foods to replace the unhealthy ones. So like the more healthy stuff I put in that I really like, then I just don't eat the other ones. Instead of saying, no, you can't have this because then I'm going to want it. So I've learned that much about myself, and I'm working on doing that. And since I've done that, over the years, like last maybe 2.5 years, I guess, or maybe let's see, 3. 4 of those months I've been on Trulicity for 3, and now it's going on 5 weeks that I've been on Mounjaro. So those help with weight loss, is what I understand. So prior to that, I was doing it just by the way I was eating, and I did walking. I didn't do a lot of exercise. That's the one thing that I'm still struggling with. But I've been watching some other channels that deal with some of the same things that I deal with. One in particular is a weight loss channel, and she has inspired me to really set some goals on exercise, because watching her do her workouts, especially in the way she has to do them based on some of the things that are going on with her body, I'm like, well, I can move, I can do this. Even though it hurts sometimes, I did physical therapy, and I did pretty well with that. I mean, I had some days that were really, really hard in between, and especially like I would go like Monday, Wednesday, and then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It was like there was days that were really bad with fibro flares and arthritis and just pain in general. That was really bad, but I did it. And I'm thinking, well, if I can just do something, just get on that and do it. And seeing her and hearing her stories, it's been a really inspiring, because she has been through a lot of things that I've never been through. Some things maybe similar, but through her sharing her story, it has really got me thinking about my own and my own health and what I'm choosing to do. And I have a ways to go, and that's something that I'm working on, trying to figure out, what I can do, and stop using the excuse that I have too small of a space in here to do exercise in the cabin, because it's too small. We have the cats, the dog, and just all of our stuff. And that's another thing that we need to do, is declutter. And I think I'm going to have to do a video on that, because I think that's the way I'm going to get this done, because procrastination. But where was I going with this? Oh yeah. Okay. So where we're at right now, it's beautiful. Like I said, my in-laws have done some amazing landscaping to their place. They've got there goes my dog, apricot trees, so like even right outside, I have to move this again, hold on just a minute. Just right outside the cabin here, we have an apricot tree. They have some beautiful tulips right out on this other end by one of the juniper trees. There's rosemary growing. Usually my mother-in-law has flowers that she brings in, and some grow. It's beautiful. My husband has built a pond for us in the back. We have a little garden space, and that's what this reminded me of, turning the earth. And when I get into the garden, I will sit down on the ground, and I will dig up and till the earth just a little, and I just stick my feet in there for a while, and it's one of the things I love to do. It really does help to just sit with that feeling of the earth being around you, and it's just so cool and like refreshing. It just has this cold feeling on your feet, and it just especially when it's so hot outside. But those are things that I've learned here. This place can really be a sanctuary for me. if I allow it to be. Now, excuse me. So, and I at the beginning of probably the first year we were here, I did not do that. I was still dealing with a lot of like really, really bad days. Then slowly I started doing that. I started finding ways to make this place feel like home and where I could just sit and be in God's presence and sit with myself and learn who I was and what I really wanted out of life and what I really wanted to do or what I needed to do. And then it's like, it's kind of like my hobby sometimes. Like I get really hyper focused on doing this thing and then I just drop off into distraction of something else and I let go of all that. And then I couldn't find my way back. And then little after that, my mom got really sick. She passed away. And it'll be 2 years in July. And I'm barely finding my way back. And when I say barely, I mean barely. I mean in ways where most days I don't want to do this. I don't want to try. I don't want to do. But then I think, if she were here, what would you be doing? You know, and I think of that. Okay, if I believe what I believe, right? I believe that there is eternity after this. I believe that I will see her again. So if I believe that, why am I allowing that grief to bring me so low that I want to give up on life? Yes, it's going to be hard, and there is going to be days where it's going to feel like the grief is choking me. But in those times, instead of allowing it to drown me, I need to shift my focus to the good things, the blessings, the memories that I had with her, the things that I learned from her, the things that we did together, and focus on God and the blessings that He's given me, the blessings I have right here and right now. The fact that because of all of the things that I deal with, the medical issues, the mental health issues, I had to quit my job, right? Which is a negative. We had to move in the place we had, and we lost so much because of that. So many things, material things because of that. Cars breaking down. We have no car, you know, but God always provides a way, right? So if I would just take that time and say, okay, what has this taught me? What things have I gained because of what I've learned from the time I spent with my mom, the time I've spent with God, and that because of the things that happened in my life right now, when my mom got sick, and even before that, I got to spend, since I'd say that, well, almost every day with her anyway, because I lived in town and we spent a lot of time together. We worked in the same place for a long time. But when I got sick that I quit my job, I was spending every day with her. All day long, just about. And then on Thursday nights, we'd always get together and have dinner at their house. It was us four, and then they would take us cruising. It was so weird. It was fun. Looking back at it now, I'm so grateful that we had those times, but it was like we're in our 30s, married, and we're cruising in the backseat, you know, my parents' vehicle. You know, we're like the passengers, and it was just like funny because who would think that we would go on a cruise with our parents, you know? But those were our best friends. That's who we hung out with. And even now, like now that all this happened, my mom passes away, you know, first I was being able to be there for her a lot more than I would have if I was working when she was sick. I was able to, like, you know, be there for my dad. Even now, like, I get to visit him often. I get to go with him places that he wants to go, you know, to my niece's games, to visit my sisters in Rio Rancho, to visit my brother in Angel Fire, to go on his little adventures to the little towns that he wants to just see and go for a ride. And I wouldn't be able to do that otherwise. And even though I still struggle getting out of the house sometimes to do those things, because it gives me anxiety sometimes being away from home and being away from Ben. And he can go with us sometimes, but you know, because of the situation that we're in, he stays here because we have our cats here, our dog, and plus we want him to be able to be here in case his parents need him too. And so, you know, just the fact that maybe this place is unspectacular to someone else. Maybe it's just a regular old cabin in a regular old acre of land in New Mexico. And maybe it wouldn't make someone else think about these things. But for me, now, after I've read this book and I've prayed about it and I've asked God to just show me why I'm here, what is my purpose, what am I supposed to be doing? And then this channel came about. And this, you know, right around that time, this book came out. And going through this, I was like, whoa, okay, here. It's like all these little, like, you know, little, I don't know if you'd call them messages from God or whatever, just knowing that this is what you need to be doing. Take care of yourself. Get yourself healthy while you're doing these other things. Because I mean, there for a while, I was getting so stressed out and overwhelmed that I couldn't do anything. I was having like emotional meltdowns and things that were just like, not things I'd ever gone through, at least not like that. And I know part of that has to do with mental health issues, but a lot of it and because of those things, stresses and being really overwhelmed and really in this go, I've got to do, it really affects me. It affects my health. It affects my mental health. It makes me sick, and I need to learn to stop. So this is the next part that I want to share before I end this video. This is my goal. I have found a way to live without panic, and am enjoying a new and steady peace right where I am. Not on the freeway of life, but at the end of a dusty country lane where my hands get dirty. I slowed down, and behold, I discovered that I hadn't disappointed God after all. By growing slow, I learned that He doesn't want to tell me well done based on the quality of my harvest. He wants to tell me well done for my obedience in planting. And those are my goals. I want to live a life that glorifies God, that shows His love through me, that I can sit in His presence and be at peace and have joy no matter what storms are happening around me, and that I can reach the goals that I've set for myself to be healthy. And in this process, that's what I'm doing. And I've reached some of them. One of them was just the awareness of what I had to do and taking some steps to do that, which I will share a little more about that in the next video, because I do want to share some of the pictures. I don't think I shared them in the other ones. I can't remember now, but I think I'll do that in the next video. All right, well, have a blessed day, and I will see you on the next one. God bless you. Bye.